Very good.
Battle of the Bays.
Yep. Gotta make sure we get the look down.
The stare down.
Yep.
Battle of the Bays. Football Sunday. Raiders versus the Niners. We figured we'd have a little bit of fun with it and actually review a Bay Area beer. So, actually, we were gonna start this off a little bit differently, but I had to start rattling on.
Nah,
here. So,
no worries. No worries.
So the beer that we're gonna actually review is Anchor Steam Beer. You can see that there. There's a pretty good history behind Anchor Brewing Company. They're actually one of the oldest brewing companies in the country, dating back to 1849 during the Gold Rush. Actually was purchased in 1871 as a saloon and then turned in more to a brewery in 1896. So given the history of San Francisco and everything that it's gone through over the past 100 years, you know, it's kind of like a phoenix, rise from the ashes.
Yep.
You know, it did burn down in the great earthquake, and then it was rebuilt. It's been through about 4 or 5 different owners, due to circumstance or otherwise.
Well, it's crazy, and I guess I didn't do any research on it, so I apologize. But you know, during that, been open around since 1849. They survived through Prohibition.
Right.
So it'd been interesting to see, you know, how does a brewery survive during Prohibition? Maybe legal ways, maybe some illegal ways.
It's funny you say that because it was shut down from 1920 to 1933.
Yep.
There is no record of them making beer legally or illegally. Eventually, ultimately, they
Don't
opened
ask, don't tell.
They opened back, exactly. They opened back up in 1933. Survived another earthquake. Again, have numerous owners, and actually was eventually in the 1950s was salvaged by a gentleman by the name of Fritz. What the heck was his name? Fritz Maytag. He had invented a steam engine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he with his primitive equipment bought 51% of the shares and actually kind of helped keep the brewery going. So the reason it's called a steam beer is it actually, when they go through the fermenting process, instead of fermenting it in a barrel, it's actually an open fermenting process.
All right.
And the reason why it's steam is that they would actually let it ferment on top of rooftops.
Huh.
So with the cool air in the San Francisco Bay Area at night, people would look up, and off these rooftops, they'll see the steam rising from the hot, beer cooling down.
Wow, that's neat.
Yeah, it's
That's
really neat. So looking at this, I got a great history lesson looking into this beer. But it's that's the style of beer. It's a steam beer, which is another term that they've come up with any brews.
They patented it too. You
Yes,
said, right?
it's patented, and they've actually come up with that term for any beer that was brewed on the West Coast. A lot of them were brewed in the same fashion. So you want to talk a little?
Well, it's real quick, and that's what I love about. I mean, we're beer freaks, as you know, and beer fanatics. But you know, we're reviewing all the beers from today, right? That are made today, but there's so much history. I mean, you talk about one brewery going back 1849. I mean, beer brewing has been around for thousands of years.
Ever since
whoever
brewed the first pot.
Yeah, you know, and I love hearing the history of it, you know, because we get, you know, the luxury of everything that's been done today, but to know that there's such a strong history and to hear one part of it, one piece of it from Anchor, it's just neat to me. I don't know, maybe I'm a nerd in that sense,
because
that history nerd, but I think it's awesome.
I enjoyed researching this, and not only is it beer history, it's part of American history.
Yeah.
You know, this is again one of the founding fathers or grandfathers of craft beer. These guys were literally doing craft beer before craft beer is what it's known for today.
Yep.
You know, so
and they're still going strong.
Yep, they're still going strong. Yep, they are, and they actually have a number of different beers. This one just seemed very unique. We thought we'd tap into it. So if you want to get into the specs, I'll pour some beer.
So we'll get into the specs here. So it is like Londo was saying, a steam beer or a common beer. We're looking at 4.9 ABV, so nothing too scary. I mean, just maybe, actually, I think some of your commercial lagers are actually stronger than that, so it's not gonna get you any tipsy. But it's 37 on the IBU scale, so not bitter at all. Is what if you guys again been following that IBU scale, we're used to some of those 80s and 90s. 37 on the low end. It's going to be a nice, clean, refreshing taste. Down to the bill there, or the recipe bill. Malt, we're looking at 2-row pale malt and some caramel malt. For hops, they are using Northern Brewery hops.
This smells great. It's actually going to be similar to what a malt beer is, but they've described it as the hops coming through in a nice fashion as well. So it's not going to be just a malt style beer, but it
Get a
smells
nice orangish red color there.
Yeah. It smells awesome. Before I even sniffed it in here, I can smell
Oh yeah, you smell more malt than you do hop, so you don't smell, again, being on that low 37 IBU scale, you don't smell that bitterness like you would in some of the other beers we've talked about. It's actually pretty clean.
I can smell the caramel malt in here. I mean, you get that sweetness from
Yeah,
it.
you do taste, you smell more sweet than anything else.
Well, let's give it a go.
That's refreshing.
It's not as heavy as I thought it would be.
See, and that's the other thing too. You know, one thing that we've talked about, we haven't talked about them in the reviews, is don't let the color of beer scare you.
Oh, no.
I mean, a lot of people think, oh, that's dark, or you know, that's going to be strong. It's going to taste like coffee. Not at all.
No.
I mean, again, like this beer, you can tell. Some people would consider it darker if they're used to some of your commercial lagers and stuff like that. But that's a very refreshing taste, and that's
not
a
what
very
I expected.
no, it's a very light. I mean, it is a little bit heavier than your commercial beers, but not by much at all. I mean, it's very refreshing.
That's a great beer. I try to go into every beer with the apprehension of me not knowing anything about it, because I don't want to relate it to anything else I've ever tasted until after I taste it. So if you have any preconceived notions about, again, going back to what the color is
Yep.
and what you think it might taste like, you're
Yep.
going to ruin the experience of the whole thing.
Yep.
So I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with this beer.
Yeah, I mean, I taste a little bit of a sweeter taste to it. Maybe that's where that caramel comes in too. Not that much bitterness. I mean, very slight, but
But it's enough to take the sweet out of it, because
Yep.
otherwise it would be overly sweet in
Yep.
my opinion if you didn't have
like
it.
almost say sugary
Yep.
if you didn't
Yep.
do that.
I agree.
So, all right, on a scale of 1 to 5 for our Bay Area beer here.
The Bay Area Showdown.
Yep.
I'm gonna say 4.5. I would give it more. There are some other steam beers out there by definition. This is the first I had. I can't jump in to say a 5 because I really don't have anything related to. I would even actually tend to even maybe say 4 3/4, but I'll give it a solid 4.5.
I was tempted to give it a 4.9 for 49, but nah, I'll be nice.
That's stupid.
I'll keep it fair. I'll keep it fair. You just hate me. 1 and what? No, but
one and next year.
no, but I was gonna give it a 4.5. Also, I'm gonna give it a 4.5. Really clean flavor, nice, refreshing. When I was looking a little bit online, some people were saying, you know, when you want to break from, you know, IPAs, from stouts, from some of your heavy, you know, we're getting out of the pumpkin beers and Oktoberfest.
Right.
So some people don't want to go to the stouts. They're looking for something lighter, cleaner.
But still have a lot of earthy tones too,
Yep.
which in the malt that comes forward on this, I actually think it would be actually suitable for this time of year.
Definitely. So that's definitely the beer to go to if you're looking to just kick back like we are on a sunny, well, not sunny, but a nice, cool Sunday morning. Nice, you know, refreshing beer to get you through.
I agree. Would you tap this beer?
I would tap it. You know, it's very clean flavor, very good flavor. You know, I always try to find beers too that for someone who's not a craft beer drinker, craft beer virgin, like to try to introduce them to a beer. You don't want to shock them with some heavy flavored beer and then they won't ever want to try craft beer again.
Right.
I like to try to find beers that introduce people into the world. I think that's a good start.
Yep, that's something that would get their taste buds thinking. Obviously, get whatever preconceived notion about dark beers that they may have,
Yep.
and just totally throw them for a shock, because this is not what they're going to expect. It's
No.
not what I expected.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm glad I didn't expect anything, because to me it made it that more enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely.
I would tap the shit out of this beer, definitely. Just like we're going to get in the 49ers' ass. I kind of hope so. You threw the jab.
Yeah, I'll
I had to come back with a low blow. But I definitely tapped the shit out of this beer. Great job, Anchor. I mean, you don't need any praise.
No.
You stand the test of time, Mother Nature, wars, plague,
Laws, shit, everything.
everything. Lupe or Gabe Londo here. I almost state your wife's name. I don't know why.
We'll have to talk afterwards.
Sitting here at the Panteezy, as we do quite often. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And don't forget your growler. I'd like to get a growler of this. What do you
Yeah,
think?
might try to find it somewhere.
Great. See you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.